Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good morning to all of our listeners here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Welcome to another edition of Front and Center, where we put very significant issues affecting our country, the Philippines, as our program title says, Front and Center. On behalf of our colleague Jerome Toledo, I'm your host for today, Steph Vicente, joining you all for a 30-minute worth of talk discussing important matters with our government officials, people from the private sector, or even members of the academe. As seen through our video live streaming, you may watch and listen to Front and Center through our Facebook page. Just search Radyo Pilipinas World Service. The same goes for our official YouTube channel. Meanwhile, we also have an audio live streaming thanks to the Evox PBS Receiver app. You may download the said app via Google Play Store if you are an Android phone user, or via App Store if you are using an iPhone. Once you have entered the Evox PBS Receiver app, just find the logo of Radyo Pilipinas World Service in order for you to listen or to be able to listen live to our programs such as Front and Center. For the first part of today's edition of Front and Center, we are going to talk about the impact of Typhoon Tino in different parts of the Philippines, particularly in Visayas. It could be recalled that just last September 30, 2025, a magnitude 6.9 earthquake devastated several parts of the Cebu province. This earthquake was considered to be the strongest ever recorded in northern Cebu and the deadliest in the country since 2013. The earthquake was felt in all of central Visayas, while also felt in some areas of western Visayas, eastern Visayas, Mindanao, and southern Luzon, particularly Bicol, with thousands of aftershocks being recorded. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology of PHIVOLCS, confirmed that the newly named Bogo Bay Fault was the source of the earthquake after documenting surface ruptures and fault scarps in Bogo. It is noted that at least 79 died in the aforementioned earthquake. Now, Cebu province is one of the areas most affected by Typhoon Tino, with several cities and towns experiencing deep flooding. To know more about the current situation in Cebu province, we expect to be joined by Cebu Provincial Information Officer Angelis Orong when we come back after a few reminders from our station.
Kapag napinsala ng bagyo, normal lang na panghinaan ng loob o malungkot. Ang mahalaga, ready tayong bumangon. Ikaw pa, enoy ka. Kaya pagligtas ng bumalik sa bahay pagkatapos ng bagyo, i-check agad kung may nasira dito. Make sure na hindi basa ang mga outlet ng kuryente bago buksan ang main switch. Kung may nakita namang sira sa mga kable ng kuryente, i-report agad sa otoridad. Itapon din ang mga naipong tubig ulan para hindi ito pamahayan ng lamok. Babangon ka, di ba? Babangon. Ikaw pa. #panatag ang may alam.
Maging panatag, Pilipinas.
This is a public service announcement.
Discipline is the key.
Umiwas sa aksidente sa daan. Ang pagmamaneho ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad, hindi basta mapaandar lang ang sasakyan.
Kilatisin ang sarili.
Ang kahandaan sa manibela, siguruhing inyong konsentrasyon ay hindi magagambala.
Importante rin na ating laging isipin.
Init ng ulo ay huwag pairalin, bagkus kaligtasan ng lahat ang siyang dapat unahin.
Isang mahalagang paalala
mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko 738.
This is a public service announcement.
Public service announcement
From PBS Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy. Tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
Ikaw ba ay naharana na?
Tunawin mo sana.
Sabi nila, ang harana ay isang matandang tradisyon ng pangliligaw sa Pilipinas na unti-unti nang nakakalimutan. The harana or the serenade first gained popularity in the early part of the Spanish period. Ang manliligaw o nanunuyo ang siyang kumakanta at pag sinuwerte, sila ay papapasukin sa bahay. Pag minalas, water gets thrown at them or sometimes even worse things. There's a website that actually books haranas for you to experience this widely known tradition. Sa iyong palagay,
Uso pa ba ang harana?
Yan ang Pinoy Kultura because our culture is cool.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And now we're back here in the program Front and Center. As we are waiting to have Miss Angelis Orong, the Cebu Provincial Information Officer, in regards to the impact of Typhoon Tino in the Cebu province, let me just read because a statement from the Cebu Provincial Office, since it was declared that Cebu Province is under the state of calamity. Hold on, I will just read the entirety of the statement, so just everyone who would have an idea on what's happening in the Cebu province. So according to Executive Order number 68, which was released yesterday, November 4, 2025, an order declaring the province of Cebu under a state of calamity due to the impact of Typhoon Tino, whereas on November 4, 2025, Typhoon Tino struck the province of Cebu, causing severe damage to infrastructure, government facilities, private establishments, and residential areas, resulting in loss of lives, injuries, and displacement of communities. Whereas Typhoon Tino has disrupted the delivery of basic services, paralyzed essential facilities, and poses continuing threats to public safety, security, health, and order. Whereas Article 2, Section 15 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution mandates the state to protect and promote the right to health and safety of the people. Whereas Section 465B of Republic Act or RA number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, empowers the provincial governor to carry out such emergency measures as may be necessary during and in the aftermath of man-made and natural disasters and calamities. Whereas in the morning of November 4, 2025, the provincial governor called for the convening of the members of the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office or PDRMO to discuss or to address the damage and injuries suffered by the component cities and municipalities of the province of Cebu. So that's just a portion of the declaration of the state of calamity. Let me just call again Miss Angelis Orong, since it seems that she's already ready for the interview. Hold on. Okay, Miss Angelis. Hello, Miss Angelis. Welcome po sa programang Front and Center. This is again Steph Vicente po of Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Yes, magandang umaga po.
Miss Angelis, ito po unang-una sa lahat kasi na-deklara po pala, no? Tama po, no? Na-deklara under state of calamity ang probinsya po ng Cebu. Tama po, Miss Angelis?
Yes po, nag-declare na po si Gov yesterday ng state of calamity. Although, actually before that, under state of calamity naman talaga yung province, hindi pa nalilift after the earthquake, but we had to issue another one kasi specific yung isa, yung first one to the earthquake.
Eto, Miss Angelis, unang-una, syempre alam naman natin na after a month after nung earthquake dyan sa Cebu, eto meron namang bagyong Tino. Kumusta po ngayon ang lalawigan ng Cebu matapos nga po nitong pananalasa ng bagyong Tino?
Well, ngayon po, we're trying talaga na bumangon. But yes, tama yung sabi mo. Sunod-sunod we were still trying to rise up after the earthquake. We were getting there. We were starting to get there, and then yet this happened. But as na-mention naman din ni Gov earlier, thankfully, yung mga towns that were affected, or LGUs affected no earthquake, hindi as badly hit ng typhoon. Although inulan sila, yes, heavy yung rain, pero walang flash floods nangyari. There was, so far, based on our information, there was no loss of life sa doon na area. For example, Bourbon, kung saan naglandfall, or Bogo City, yung hardly affected ng earthquake. Wala na naman daw kung loss of life according to their IOs. So, thankfully, walang flash flood doon na areas po. But yun na, may dito ngayon, more LGUs. There are 35 LGUs affected by the typhoon. West, North, and Central Cebu. So, to say, I think I think the word would be surviving. We're hoping to rise up again after this. In our local term, we call it a Kumbati Cebu. We call Kumbati's fighting. So, we're fighting. We're fighting to get there.
And you just mentioned po na 35 LGUs are affected by this typhoon. So, ano po ang mga cities and municipalities po na ito at alin po sa kanila yung masasabi po na pinaka tinamaan po nitong bagyong Tino?
Yes, madami, 35. Pero I'll mention na lang po yung hardly hit. Talaga, yung grabe, when I say hardly hit, yun po yung pinaka, yung grabe yung flash flood, grabe yung, it would say storm surge. First is dito sa, Talisay City yesterday, also Mandaue, and then Consolacion, Liloan, Compostela, and then Danao. These are, tapos yung, of course, yung more areas, yung Carmen, Sugod, meron ding affected, pero hardly hit talaga hanggang Danao City po. Grabe po yung pagbaha.
Miss Angelis, matanong lang po namin, bago po tayo dumako dun sa number of families, ay nagkaroon po ba ng power outages dyan sa mga naapektuhang bahagi ng Cebu? At kamusta po yung serbisyo naman po ng ating telecommunications dyan, naapektuhan din po ba?
Yes, thank you for asking. Katatapos lang po ng emergency meeting na pinatawag ni Gov to all utility providers. Lahat po nag-attend from electricity providers to mobile data sa kahit tubig. So, based on the report earlier, mga we would say 20-40% lang po ang power ang nabalik for now. But ang instructions po or ang ask po ni Gov sa lahat po ng providers natin is as fast as they can lang na mabalik. Lalong-lalo na po yung electricity and for communication. Kasi yun po yung concern ngayon. Like for example, dito sa Emergency Operations Center natin, update natin sa yung casualties, so missing, or casualties natin kahapon, medyo mahina yung pag-update natin. Lalo ngayon sa missing, hindi pa namin alam kasi nga signal is very bad. So we have not heard from several towns or cities yet updates. Nagbibigay naman po ng updates pero hindi as updated as possible kasi nga ang hina talaga ng signal. Yesterday, we were in Liloan. Ang hina, wala talaga ako. I'm from Liloan. I was also one of the evacuees and nabahaan. Wala talaga. Zero yung signal hanggang ngayon. So, it's a challenge lalo na sa may mga yung may families who are abroad looking for their families here in Cebu. Hindi nila makontak. So right now, kaya yun nagpatawag ng emergency meeting si Gov sa utility providers po.
And nabanggit niyo po yung sa casualties, no? So, linawin lang po natin, sa ngayon ay hindi pa tiyak kung ilan ang casualties due to the difficulties sa communication lines. Tama po, Miss Angelis?
Yes, yung 39 po natin na casualties, as of last night pa yun. So, we don't have updates yet as of recent. So, yung challenge, I wouldn't be able to give you yung pinaka-updated na data kasi nga we are still trying to get feedback from our LGUs. Pero yung 39 po as of last night po yan. Confirm po yan, confirm.
Ito naman po, Miss Angelis, no, dakuin naman natin, meron po ba na siguro at least as of last night, kasi dun po medyo maayos-ayos pa yung updates. Ilan na po ang mga pamilya o individual na apektado po nitong bagyong Tino, and meron po ba, first nabanggit nyo na rin po yung mga evacuation centers. Ilan po ang evacuation centers na bukas po sa buong Cebu, and ilan po yung mga individual na kumbaga nananatili ngayon sa evacuation centers?
As of last night po, we have, sa evacuees, we have over 119,523 evacuees in the whole province, that's already in the whole province of Cebu. Some are already, some are, I'm trying to get information. Sorry. Yeah, so, there's 119, and then, may mga as for evacuation centers, may 711 in Kyle. 711. Although, again, this is the update po last night. So, we're still trying to get information, updates as of now, kung ilan po ba, may nakabalik na ba, may nag-close na ba na evacuation centers. But this is of last night po. So, number of families, 37,695 in evacuation centers for 119,523 individuals. As for affected, wala pa po talaga tayong number nun. Because affected, that includes those na hindi naman wala sa evacuation centers. So, we still don't have, we're waiting for the numbers from the LGU po.
Ito naman po, no, Miss Angelis, regarding naman po sa infrastructures, no, yung kumbaga, yung labas na po dun sa nangyaring lindol last time, meron po bang naidagdag or naitala na damages to infrastructures o damages sa mga kabahayan na due lang po sa Typhoon Tino?
May infrastructure po na yun po yung wala pa pong assessment. I can't give you the exact number, pero based lang sa pag-iikot natin ni GovCam kahapon those are the Talisay, Mandaue, Consolacion, and hanggang Liloan pa lang po yun. May mga infrastructure talaga na either washed out or damaged. So we could add that malaki talaga yung damage to top pa dun sa earthquake.
Ito naman po, Ma'am Angelis, kumusta naman po yung coordination ng siguro ito po muna pala bago po yung coordination. Ano-ano pong tulong ang naibigay na po ng provincial government sa mga naapektuhan nitong nagdaang bagyo?
So, tayo po nakapag-preposition na ng ang first order po or part po ng disaster preparedness plan natin is na-preposition ng food packs. There was 20,000 already pre-possession, and then pre-packed meals or ready to eat meals napahatid na po natin kahapon to the mostly affected LGUs, pero hindi pa po talaga lahat kasi may areas kahapon talaga na mahirap i-access kasi patuloy yung pag-ulan kahapon. Pero yun din po, nakakaldala na tayo ng heavy equipment galing sa engineering office natin. And also, we were able to coordinate with private companies that were willing to send as well manpower and heavy equipment to the affected LGUs to help in the clearing process. So, yun po. And then, our health office din po, ready na po yung nagbigay. First is ating responders. Nagbigay na po ng parang prophylaxis to help or to prevent leptospirosis sa ating responders. Ready na po yung gamot na mabigay sa kanila. Also, in other medicines po, ready na po ang ating before the typhoon landed or had made a landfall or affected us. Lahat na po ng provincial and district hospitals under the capital were on full alert po. So, right now, we're trying to get information lang on the number of patients who are still with them due to the flooding. We will give you updates later on, but yun po ang nabigay ng province.
Ito naman po, Ma'am Angelis, no? Kumusta naman po yung coordination with the national government agencies, with NGOs, and of course, yung ating uniformed personnel, kaugnay nitong response nga po, no, para sa mga naapektuhan ng Bagyong Tino?
Yes. Kahapon po, tumawag po si Governor Pam sa Office of the President sa Malacanang and to get immediate help.
It seems that our communication is interrupted. We'll try to call again Miss Angelis because, of course, this is important information, especially to our overseas Filipinos who are worried about.
Hello?
Yes, Miss Angelis, go ahead.
Yes. So kahapon yun po, tumawag po si GovPam sa Office of the President sa Malacanang to get help po immediately for the search and rescue kasi maxed out talaga po yung LGUs natin and then the PDRMO natin sa ating search and rescue. So immediately naman, nagpadala po si Secretary Chodoro and sa ating DILG po, Secretary Remulla ng additional manpower from AFP, PNP, Coast Guard para makatulong, and immediately po na send na po yun. Sa ano naman po, sa DSWD, madami po silang na preposition din po na mga food stacks. Nakita natin kahapon na may mga LGUs na they already had the DSWD food stacks po.
Ito na lamang, before I let you go, Ma'am Angelis, ano-ano na lamang po ang inyong paalala o mensahe sa inyong mga kababayan dyan sa Cebu Province sa gitna ng kasalukuyang sitwasyon sa inyong lugar dahil na po sa pananalasa ng Bagyong Tino?
Yes, thank you very much po for the opportunity. First is to everybody from in the province of Cebu, on behalf of Governor Pam and the provincial government, we assure you that we are doing our best talaga, coordinating as well with the LGUs to ensure that makakabangon talaga tayo nito. And after this, it's not just on resiliency, hindi na yun sa resiliency, kailangan talaga natin na prepare tayo as far as infrastructure, as far as everything else is concerned, hindi lang pwede na sabihin natin na resilient tayo. So we're really doing our best. Sunod-sunod yung nangyayari sa atin, but we assure you the provincial government is doing its best for the whole province of Cebu. Help is coming and help is on its way. Laban na talaga tayo na as we say, combatin Cebu.
Maraming salamat, Ma'am Angelis, for joining us here in Front and Center. Stay safe po sa inyong lahat dyan sa Cebu Province.
Maraming salamat, Nita.
And we were just joined by Cebu Provincial Information Officer Angelis Orong in regards to the impact of Typhoon Tino in their province. When we come back, we are going to talk about the proposed Anti-Online Hate and Harassment Act, also known as the Eman Atienza Bill, with Digital Pinoy's national campaigner, Ronald Gustilo. For the meantime, here are some reminders from our station.
Magandang araw, si Ding Dong Dantes po ito. Nakatira ka ba malapit sa dagat? Uy, sana all by the beach. Pero alam mo bang at risk kayo sa storm surge o daluyong ng bagyo? Storm surge ang tawag sa malalaking alon na nabubuo dahil sa malakas na hangin. At hindi lang ito basta-basta alon na. Pwede itong lumaki ng katumbas ng 2 palapag na bahay. Intense. Kaya naman kung may banta ng storm surge sa inyong lugar. mag-evacuate na agad bago pa man dumating ang bagyo. Hindi na kailangan magpanik dahil #panatag ang may alam.
Maging panatag Pilipinas.
Front and center. Front and center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome again to Front and Center, and this has been your host for today, Steph Vicente. As mentioned earlier, we are going to talk about the proposed Anti-Online Hate and Harassment Act, also known as the Eman Atienza Bill. Just for a short background on this, it could be recalled that Senator J.V. Ejercito has filed the said bill, which seeks to combat cyberbullying and other forms of online abuse. The proposed measure is named after content creator Eman Atienza, who passed away while struggling with mental health challenges. Eman, who had an active online presence, had also been subjected to intense online bullying. In the bill, Senator Ejercito said that while people have the right to free speech, it should not infringe on the rights of others. He noted that online bullying has caused real-world pain, the kind that cannot be erased as easily as deleting a comment. Ejercito's measure seeks to expand the scope of the Cybercrime Prevention Act and the Anti-Bullying Act by providing a clear definition of online hate and harassment. Under the proposed law, cyber libel, online hate speech, online harassment, and similar offenses would be prohibited. Digital platforms would be required to promptly remove or disable content classified as online harassment while preserving the data for possible court proceedings. The measure also mandates platforms to strengthen their mechanisms against online hate and harassment, including employing trained content flaggers and swiftly suspending users who spread such content. The Department of Health and the Department of Social Welfare and Development would also be tasked with providing improved psychosocial support for victims, while the Department of Justice and other relevant legal agencies would ensure access to legal assistance. In regards to the Eman Atienza Bill, we are now joined by Digital Pinoy's national campaigner, Ronald Gustilo. Sir Ronald, welcome po dito sa aming programang Front and Center. Si Steph Vicente po ito ng Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Ito po sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Ayun, maraming salamat po Sir Ronald for joining us dito sa programa. Sir Ronald, para po sa kaalaman ng lahat at bilang kayo po ay bahagi ng isang digital advocacy group, gaano po kahalaga na maisulong itong tinatawag na Eman Atienza Bill?
Alam mo, napaka-timely, no, na nag-file nito si Senator J.V. Ejercito. In light nga doon sa papatinding, na-obserbahan natin papatinding attitude ng ating mga kababayan patungkol sa kung paano nila sila nakikipagsalamuha sa social media, no? Alam mo, napakarami nating nakikita na okay naman sana yung nagdidiskurso tayo, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga debate, nagbabatuhan tayo ng opinion. Ang nagiging problema, yung iba nating mga kababayan, umahantong sa panlalait, panghaharas, pananakot, pangbubuli, yung kanilang ginagawa, which is hindi naman nakakatulong doon sa kabuuang diskurso kung paano natin pinapaunlad yung ating yung mga issue na dapat nating tinatalakay ngayon, no? So sa halip na malayang diskurso ang nangyayari, nagiging nagiging laitan portion na lang yung nangyayari, nagiging harassment bonanza yung nangyayari, no? At nakakaawa yung mga nagiging biktima nito dahil talagang mabigat yung nagiging tama sa kanila.
Sir Ronald, no, matanong ko lamang po, no, since syempre alam natin na may mga advocacies mo na isinusulong ang inyong grupo na Digital Pinoys. Sa inyong palagay, talaga po bang at least, no, dito sa Pilipinas ay nawawala na po ba tayo ng safe, yung matatawag na safe space sa mga online platforms tulad nga po ng mga social media websites?
Well, definitely yung ating mga social media platforms ay hindi siya safe space, no? Anytime na meron kang sabihin, anyone can comment violently, 'di ba? At sadly, yung ating mga platform, napakatagal ng aksyon patungkol dito. In fact, kahit mismo mga request na mula sa gobyerno patungkol sa mga issue ng mga illegal na harassment post, mga fake news, talagang hindi ho nila tinitake down at ang ginagawa nilang dahilan ay dahil sa free speech. Pero alam mo, nakikita natin, alam na basehan kung ano ang katotohanan at ano ang fake news, pero yung mga platforms ng social media, tumatanggi silang aksyonan yung ganitong mga reklamo. Kaya talagang nakakapangamba dahil marami sa ating mga kababayan talagang nabibiktima na lamang sila ng harassment, nabibiktima sila ng mga pananakot, nabibiktima sila ng pangbubuli, pero wala silang matakbuhan. Kaya ngayon, sa panukalang ito, nakikita natin na once na pumasa ito at maipatupad ito, ay magkakaroon ng dapat magkaroon ng improvement yung ating mga social media platforms.
Sir Ronald, base po sa inyong pag-aaral dyan sa Digital Pinoys, hindi po ba naging sapat ang mga hakbang na ipinatutupad sa ilalim ng Cybercrime Prevention Act at Anti-Bullying Act?
Well, sa parte ito, mukhang talagang nakita na mayroong kakulangan. At napapanahon yung pag-amyenda para makatugon doon sa worsening situation ng ating social media at yun yung ninanais tugunan ng panukalang batas na ito ni Senator Ejercito.
Sir Ronald, eto na lamang po, ano-ano po yung mga naisulong po para sa kaalaman ng ating mga kababayan na nakikinig sa atin dito sa programang Front and Center? Ano po yung mga programa, inisyatiba o pag-aaral na naisulong po ng Digital Pinoys pagdating sa laban kontra dito sa tinatawag na cyberbullying?
Well, syempre talagang naninindigan tayo na hindi dapat nangyayari itong cyberbullying. Patuloy tayong nakikipag-ugnayan sa ating mga kaibigan sa lehislatura, sa Kongreso at sa Senado, at maging sa mga kaibigan natin sa mga social media platforms na sana naman ay maging kabahagi sila doon sa ating laban, doon sa kontra sa online bullying at online harassment. And at the same time, syempre, sasagawa tayo ng mga lecture series na kung saan paano maiiwasan at paano ire-report yung mga ganitong klase ng insidente. Nang sa ganun, ay makatulong naman tayo doon sa pagbawas o kundi man sa tuluyang pagkawala nitong mga ganitong klase ng hindi magandang gawain online.
Ang matanong ko lamang po, Sir Ronald, meron na po bang ongoing consultations po na kasama po ang inyong grupo pagdating dito sa Eman Atienza Bill or wala pa po sa ngayon?
Dahil kaka-file lang naman ito ni Senator Ejercito, nagpaabot pa lamang tayo ng ating openness na maging kabahagi doon sa diskusyon nito. And sana po ay mapagbigyan din po tayo dahil alam niyo si Senator Ejercito, kanyang tanggapan ay nakakatulungan naman po natin sa iba't ibang issue.
Ito na lamang po, Sir Ronald, ang inyong panghuling mensahe sa ating mga tagapakinig. Lalong-lalo po, siguro sa mga, syempre, hindi naman po lahat ng yung nilalabas sa social media ay hindi naman po yung tunay na nararamdaman ng isang individual. Dun sa mga apektado po nitong mga cyberbullying. Kasi ito pong Eman Atienza Bill ay kumbaga ay nagsaspark ng discussion pagdating nga po sa naturang paksa.
Opo, syempre sa ating pong mga kababayan na meron hong mga hindi ho magandang naiisip o may mga nakakalungkot po na pinagdaraanan. Bukas po ang aming tanggapan, bukas din po ang iba't ibang ahensya ng gobyerno. Meron hong mga handang tumulong para po magkaroon po ng kahit man lang may mapapakinggan o magkaroon ng professional help. Nandyan po yung ating mga ahensya ng pamahalaan, nandyan din ho ang Department of Health. So lumapit po tayo. Wala hong masama na tanggapin na talagang may bigat po tayong nararamdaman. Alam po natin na mahirap yan. Pero yun na nga, marami pong handang tumulong sa inyo.
And with that, maraming salamat po, Sir Ronald, sa pagsama niyo po dito sa aming programa. Until next time po at mabuhay kayo.
Maraming salamat po. Mag-iingat po kayong lahat. Magandang umaga po.
And we are just joined by Digital Pinoy's national campaigner, Ronald Gustilo, in regards to the proposed Anti-Online Hate and Harassment Act, also known as the Eman Atienza Bill. At this point, we'll be ending today's edition of Front and Center. We would like to thank our technical staff composed of Milo Jonella, Susan Aison, Hiro Lucero, and Justine Osias, who made this program possible. We would also like to thank our OJTs there, Will and Greg, for assisting us today. And thank you as well to our station manager, Mr. Ray Sampang. Until the next episode of Front and Center, on behalf of our colleague Jerome Toledo, this has been your host for today, Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.